Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and unicorns. Welcome to this other stream of mine. So glad to have you here. I hope you had a great week. As some of you already see, there's a new contestant has arrived. There's a new presence in the chat, and it's the automated unicorn chatbot. Cheers, by the way, that already spread some sparkle. Pretty indiscriminately around the chat. So yeah, thank you so much for dropping by. And yeah, with the automated unicorn, this is something that I whipped up on Glitch, and Glitch is a very good name for the service because the first minutes I couldn't get it to run, but I'm glad that it did. And also thank you so much, Mr. Julius, for subscribing for another 4 months. I raise my cup of unicorn spicy coffee especially to you. So good. So the automated unicorn, as you can see, should already greeting various people as they join. I hope that you only be greeted once the first time that you join, but what I've seen in my tests that sometimes randomly, maybe when it reconnects to the chat or something, the unicorn will greet you again. Just be patient with it. It's still very young and it still does not know a lot what it is doing. But on the other hand, the automated unicorn is there to promote my YouTube channel. So once every, I don't know, what is it, 15 to 20 minutes or so, once every 15 minutes, it just posts a link to my YouTube videos. And what I think is more interesting is that it has a digestive system, because of course it needs to have a digestive system. Our Lady Miss Liv says, I will probably not stay very long today, being Valentine's Day now. Yeah, of course, I completely understand that. But I feel very honored that nevertheless, some of you even made it on Valentine's Day to spend at least some of your time with me. My God, this is, again, I feel so honored. Thank you so much. Right, where was I? Right, digestive system. You can feed the unicorn cookies just by typing cookie or exclamation point cookie, but if you don't overfeed the unicorn, because then it won't accept cookies, but every 7 cookies, once it has digested 7 cookies, it will poop a rainbow. So yeah, there's that. This is all I came up with, but I thought it would be nice to interact with the unicorn. Yeah, it already works. So you are enabling automated unicorn to learn from us and eventually take over your Twitch stream. Exactly. And by the way, there's a 5% chance that the automated unicorn will jump in and quote your last thing that you said and replace a random word or more than one word with the word sparkle or sparkling. So this is, as I've said the last time, that I want to have something like a chatbot, like the butts bot that replaces random words with the word butts. I thought it would be more appropriate to have a random unicorn just sparkling all the way. And as it always is with random number generators, even if the chance is very low, within the first 5 chat messages, we already had twice the sparkle replacement fired. So yeah, there we go. It did it to my line earlier, exactly. So yeah, it's a 5% chance. So it's like winning the lottery, but with sparkles and rainbows. So here we are. And Jarbert Gilbert is here, says my automated unicorn, and I welcome you to the stream. I'm not quite sure. And Adam Waters is also here. Thank you for reminding me, automated unicorn. So cheers to everyone who just joined. By the way, again, I'm having my very special Illy coffee in my Magic of the Unicorn mug because I thought it might be appropriate for today. So good. And also, by the way, the unicorn might do other stuff in the chat when it's bored. So you never know what the automated unicorn is up to. So yeah, this is my first Twitch bot. So yeah, let's hope let's count the times every time I say Twitter bot. Because it starts essentially with the same letters. And I mean, when I enter twi in my browser, it goes to Twitter, even if I want to go to Twitch. So this is also the same kind of replacement happens in my mushy method is sometimes my brain. So I apologize if I call Twitch Twitter multiple times in a row, perhaps. And Jarbet Gilbert says, I've been forcibly delurked by your automated unicorn. Hello. Yeah, Lady Misleaf just tried out Sparkle. Maybe I should try this. And yeah, apparently the unicorn, maybe if you want to keep lurking and without being called out, maybe there should be a possibility to exclude yourself from the greeting, but so far my unicorn bot does not use any kind of storage other than the RAM it uses up on over at Glitch. So right now it is completely unaware of what happened before or what happens after. When it restarts again, it has forgot everything and it starts with a well-filled tummy. And December Day Game says, hello and happy Valentine's Day, and by the way, happy Valentine's Day to everyone of you. Yeah, it was also a special day for me and my wife because we on Valentine's Day it was our engagement anniversary and we celebrated by, I mean, it's Corona, so we just drove around in our car, got some pretzels from a tank stop and had some coffee prepared from home, and then we just went around. So I hope your Valentine's Day is a bit more exciting, but then again, let's hope it is not exciting because we all want this thing to be over. I'm not talking about Valentine's Day, of course. Valentine's Day, you have to write this down, says Lady Misleaf. Yeah, maybe we call it. It will be a zombie film that's set on Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day with Tom Hanks. No, this doesn't work. Maybe it could work. It could work. I mean, Zombieland had Bill Murray, right? So maybe it could work. And Mr. Julia says, I have to do my laundry, but thanks to technology, I can use my wireless headphones. Amazing. So you probably have missed that the automated unicorn says, Sparkle to have you do my laundry, but thanks to Sparkle, I use my wireless Sparkle. And did the AU see me? Yes, it did, Cursey Boo. I'm not quite sure. Maybe, now it did. The automated unicorn takes a little bit, waits for the actions, for the join actions to be relayed to the IRC chat. So this is where it gets its news from. So it might be delayed a little bit. And apparently the automated unicorn already pooped a rainbow. So. And Lady Misleaf fed the automated unicorn a cookie. So, by the way, we also can ask whether the unicorn is hungry by !hungry, and then the unicorn will tell you whether it is hungry, whether it is stuffed, or whether it's doing okay. So, and Jerzy Hezek is also there. Hi there, unicorn! Right, whenever I say the word unicorn, by the way, you know what, let's try this in also unicorn. Then let's all have a sip of water because it's fun and healthy to stay hydrated, and already had some water today, so this is enough for a week for me. You know what? Even got a special treat. Orange juice, fresh pressed. Well, it's not that fresh, it's already quite cloudy. Orange juice, but I don't dare to mix it with my milky coffee, so maybe at the end of the stream when I know that there won't be any unpleasant surprises for any of us. Cool. Thank you for feeding my automated unicorn. What is today's program? And today's program is where we will pick up what I did last time. That was getting my puzzle game continued in GameMaker, and maybe that we have something playable at the end of this session. At least I'm knocking on wood. Yeah, this wood sounds more like it would be lucky wood. That we have something that's hopefully playable at the end of the session. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, who are here for the first time, perhaps I say thank you so much and welcome. Maybe the automated unicorn already mentioned you. And yeah, I will just briefly summarize what the idea of my puzzle game is and then show you where we are at this point. And of course, also the past streams are archived over on YouTube. The channel name is Phil Motion Video, but there's also a link down there in my About section on Twitch, because yes, finally I have an About section and also updated the Twitch logo for this stream. So yeah, everything that looks more, has more this red cyan look to it. So I'm quite happy with, yeah, just everything to make everything look a bit more interesting. Okay. Let's get cracking then. And Lady Misleaf says, I remember clicking the corner to try to close it and it went away. I have no idea what you're talking about. Was it the automatic unicorn fills the air with sparkles just because it can? Oh, good, it works. And December Day Game says, oh, I got news. I made that unicorn you requested in the snow. And hi Phil, says Commander Stitch. Thank you so much for dropping by. The automatic unicorn already told me that you were in the chat, Commander Stitch, but then you went away and never. Yeah. So finally, the unicorn is also caught up with Jerzy Hezek joining and Spy Renteros, or Spy Renteros. So wonderful. Cool. So yeah, let's get started in Game Maker, and I will show you briefly what I have and also how the game is about or is supposed to be played. So I think this is now the 4th time that I'm pitching the rules of the game, so I hope this will be a bit more clear this time around. So essentially the game is played on a grid tile, and we get alternating different kinds of tiles. The blue ones are clues, blue, clue, it rhymes, and the yellow, the orange ones are resources. What I haven't marked here is that you start out with a number of resources. I just call them blobbles so far. That are the resources that you start with when you start the game. So for one resource you can open up a clue field. So let's do this, and I take one yeah, this was a huge huge eraser size, so let's just take one resource away and let's open this clue here, perhaps. And it says here 1/2. So this refers to the resources. So 1/2 means there is a 1 there, here, and a 2 there. The problem is that one is minus and the other is plus, but we don't know which one. If we click on the one with minus, for example, if we click open the -2, then we lose 2 resources here, which is not good. And what's even worse is the other side gets locked, so we can't just click the other resource and there to have a +1. So instead, maybe we need to spend another clue here, or another resource here, to open up another clue. Then we might open up, oh, you can't see my mouse cursor apparently. Sorry about that. There's always something that I forget. So sorry about that. This is, where did I put it? The one program that I use to be able to zoom into the screen, and usually it would double the mouse pointers when I was streaming with OBS, and to safeguard against this, I turned off the mouse pointer, but I can't find the the link to it. Oh my god, there it is. I put it in a different place so that it's easier for me to find. So hopefully you should see my mouse pointer now. There we go. Beautiful. So yeah, people are feeding the automated unicorn cookies. This is wonderful. Thank you. Okay, back to where we were. So I use another resource there to open another clue. Maybe this clue says also here 1/1 perhaps. So this won't help us with this clue here because this is referring vertically. But maybe we are lucky and this clue says here 2 next to 3. For example. So we know that this is a 2 and this must be a 3, but we still don't know which is a plus and which is a minus. So in this case, because ideally we want +3, we want to get the most resources out of it, and we already have here this clue that we know that this is plus or minus, then we could decide to use this clue here, this one that I just X'd out. Let's draw here this marquee here, so that I can use this clue here and say with this clue I want to open up this field, which in turn locks the other resource field. So let's do this. I just do this here in Photoshop, where I just fill this here with white so that we know that something has been opened. So I open up this one field here and oh no, it is a minus. No, it is a +1. This is good. We want a +1, but suddenly this field here gets locked. We can't click this resource open. So we get +1. So I should have prepared this even better than what I did right now. So opacity to 100, and this this must go. So, but this one here is locked. Now we can't, but the good thing is now that we know that this must be a minus, then we can use the clue that we opened before, this one here, and open this tile number 3 here. The 2 is already locked, so it doesn't matter if it's now locked. This was bad. So we open up this, and lo and behold, we got a +3 here. Big surprise. So we get here 1, 2, 3 more blobbles. So essentially those are the rules. And right now I'm in the process of, in GameMaker, of making an algorithm to construct this field and also come up with all the clues essentially. And last time, let me quickly show you. Last time, where is my tile game? This is not where I started. GameMaker Projects tile game version 2. So let's probably save it as tile game version 3 before doing anything, because I'm not using Git or anything. I'm doing it completely old school and just starting a new version of the game, version 03, each time that I start. File not found. Of course, I clicked open and not save as. Save as. There we go. And Mr. Julius redeemed unicorn, and which means I need to have a sip of water. And for some reason, the overlay, I didn't see the overlay on my screen. I'm terribly sorry, but unicorn means water, so thank you for redeeming your channel points. Only as long as the resources last, of course. So, right. Let's compile this very quickly to show you what I've got so far. And yeah, it looks like this. So kind of like in, I can't zoom in again because who knows why. Because this glass brick is sometimes working and sometimes it's not working. Key combo, Alt and Win. Yeah, this is what I'm doing. Probably because I was in the process of streaming and it, when I start streaming and it doesn't work. So sorry, I can't zoom this in much further. I'm really sorry, but I hope you can see enough, at least when you do this in full screen. So what we have now so far is a random distribution of resources between -3 and +3, and we got the clues. For right now, it's only the horizontal clues, and the algorithm works like this, so that it first, when it starts on first it distributes all the resource values between 1 and 3, but not +1 or -3, so the sign is not set in stone. Then the algorithm goes in and starts with the first clue and looks at what's to its right. So in this case, because the field wraps over, so to the right of the first clue there is the 2, and to the left, the other way around. To the left of it is +2, and to the right of it is 3. And then it just randomly assigns one the plus and the other the minus. Then when it goes over to the next clue, then the clue looks whether already there has been a sign defined or set. In this case, of course, it already has been set minus. Then, of course, it does the opposite on the other side, so that it's always the opposite. The downside of this is that it's alternating, all the resources are alternating between plus and minus. So what gets started there by the first clue on the line essentially sets in stone all the others. And it's just, like I said, it's alternating, and this is not very fun to play, because once you have one sign, you pretty much know the rest of the board. So essentially what I'm going to do now, or in this session, is that we don't do just the horizontal clues, but also the vertical clues, and where it's just a random chance whether a clue is horizontal or vertical, because once it's vertical, it's independent. Oh God, excuse me, too much water. It's independent of of what's going on horizontally. So my guess is that it should look all right, that it should work, but I have a hunch that when I'm doing just this Monte Carlo approach, where just randomly sampling certain clues or certain resources and then assigning the opposite one, we might run into problems. And another problem that I also realized in the last session was that it always has to be an even number of rows and columns. Because when it's not, then a clue on this side would also refer to when the number of rows is uneven, is odd, then a clue would have a neighboring clue. So it can't use that for resources and so on and so forth. So right now, at least in this version, maybe I come up with a different setup, but in this version it's always an even number, and this saved me a lot of grief. So yeah, I think I lost my point that I had before, but yeah, today I'm just trying to find out whether there are some problems, and if there are, then the tile itself should indicate it maybe by a color or something, just to tell me in debugging mode essentially, hey, there's a problem, I don't have a clue assigned, or hey, this I can't assign a clue here, or can't alternate the signs, because there is, like I said, some problem there that's already been assigned. And hopefully to find all the possible edge cases, or at least some of the edge cases. And then once this is done, because I hope that this will be done in an hour or so, then we will start to make the tiles clickable, and that they start in not reverse order, where they're just occluded, and then you have to click them open essentially. So December Day Games tried to feed the unicorn, but Cursiboo already said it's exclamation point cookie. So yeah, the automated unicorn is already well fed, but it's starting to feel hungry. And let me just try to ask whether it is really hungry. Yes, hungry. So yeah, you know what? I will feed it also a cookie again. And by the way, the unicorn has a set number of cookies that it can digest, or has a stomach size, a tummy variable. So you can't overfeed it, because at a certain point it won't accept cookies for a certain period, but it will grow hungry. And if it's too annoying, please let me know, then I will change its digestive value, that it doesn't digest cookies as fast. Chat is a bit messy, says Mr. Julius. And exactly, yeah, I think maybe the unicorn, I mean, usually it should be not the main part in the chat, it should just sometimes come alive. But now that it's very hungry, you know what, I will do this right away. I will change the digestive tract. I still have it here open on the other monitor. I will change the digestive speed of the unicorn down to a half, so that it's hopefully not that annoying. So the unicorn should join again. It wakes up, okay, and we're here at the point where the unicorn just says hello to everyone again. So yeah, please give me feedback in terms of this spot, whether it's too annoying, because it might be. I feel like the unicorn is a bit too hungry. Yes, exactly, December Games. So it grows hungry too fast. I think this is the problem. So the cookies per step I decreased, and it once every minute its digestive system is run, and then it's digesting a certain amount of cookies, and once it has digested a given amount of cookies, then it starts to poop rainbows, and then it grows hungry again. So I thought that this was the most important programming thing that I've done this week. What am I doing with my life? Ah, streaming perhaps, right. So and Cursiboo says hello to the automated unicorn, and maybe the unicorn should whisper back. Would this be interesting if you could ask the unicorn something, or that it would whisper back to you, that not the chat is getting too messy? Yeah, anyway, I'm glad you like the unicorn. Okay, right, so let's have a look here at the GameMaker code. So for those who don't know, yes, I'm doing this in GameMaker, entirely in GML, the GameMaker language, and I'm constricting myself mostly to use just the create, step and draw events. Of course, you can have other events, like here in the board that's controlling everything is when I'm hitting escape, then the game ends, because this is helpful for debugging. Right, I mean, like I said, I could have here a lot of different type of events, but I want to happen that everything is getting checked and happens there in the step event, so that I know in what order certain parts of the code are being run. Right, so when we create the board here, or when we create, essentially I have to refamiliarize myself with the code. So when we enter the room with the game, there is only one object there. This is an invisible object that it's just a controller object, and that's the control board. And on its create event, it essentially sets up the entire board, and it it populates the board with instances of the object tile, then distributes resources and clues in a checkerboard fashion, then assigns the resources values first. And I'm doing this since this is a prototype. Everything has happened one after the other because I mean it's so fast, and it's much easier for me to move blocks around and instead of doing this all at once, for example. Mr. Julius says, I never use anything besides step and create events. You don't need anything else. Exactly. I've seen Mike Daly, the guy of Lemmings fame. By the way, Lemmings has today its 30th birthday or release date, I think. So this is also quite interesting. Yeah, and Mike Daly was working at Yo-Yo Games. And I think he did an entire recreation of Lemmings in Game Maker. And I'm not quite sure if it was in this video, but he used a lot of different events for mouse clicks and so on. But personally, I just use a bunch of if and flags, if statements and flags that are in the create or in the step event myself. And Commander Stitch says, I posted a picture of granola bars in the whatever chat. For the unicorn, you mean? We're distributing the resources and clues in a checkerboard fashion. Then we assign the resource values, but it does this here by choose 1, 2, or 3, but not the signs. Then we register the neighbors of a clue, so that each tile that is of type clue, where we find its neighbors, also in special cases, because the entire board rolls over at the edges. So this is what happens here. So the clues themselves get assigned here. So we got the object tile, and each object tile has a certain type. So right now it gets here initialized with type generic, and the board creation says that it is either of type clue or of type resource. And upon when it's being created, well, after it was created, the tile, and its first time its step event runs, it switches what type it is. And if it's a clue type, it has this code block, or if it's a type resource, then it has this code block. For now, this code block just says use a different sprite. And in the draw event, there's also something that's different, because if type is clue, then we do a certain drawing stuff here, which essentially just draws the clue that actually it is. But for right now, it just draws the tile ID, which we've also set. Right, and what does run the first time when we switch on its type and it is of type clue? Well, first we check horizontally, and here we got a to-do, so pick either east or the west neighbor. For now, it always starts with looking at its left neighbor and then decides what to do with the right neighbor. I mean, for now this is good, but maybe, this could be a shortcoming there in the board creation algorithm. But for now, like I said, testing is okay. Right, so we just check horizontally, so whether N1, so this is the left neighbor of a tile, or whether this resource already has a sign. And if not, and also the right neighbor has no sign, then essentially we can just use a random. We just pick and choose. So if random 1 equals 0, well, then it's minus, otherwise it's plus. And from this, well, actually it's not. If I random, yeah, this works. It's a random integer between 0 and 1. Okay, cool. I just wasn't sure whether it was just random, because random would return a random float between 0 and 1, and yeah, the chances of it landing on 0, I don't know actually what the chances are, but it's not 50-50, right? So it usually, in that case, it should have been less than 0.5 or something. So yeah, we pick this. Essentially, yeah, it's just an if check. So, but if once we looked at the neighbor to the left and the neighbor to the right has already a tile or a sign set, well, then we just use the opposite sign. And the problem is, so if both have a sign and it's of opposing value, of opposing type, all is good. But here we have a horizontal problem here, because both signs have been set. And to just know myself, or just to be able to tell myself to debug this, I will introduce a flag here, and I do this here Usually this is how I set up my objects in GameMaker, my code. So first I start with all the enums, because I really know when I need to change an enum or where an enum is coming from. I know, okay, an enum that has to do with a tile. I just go into the create event and have all the enums at the ready on top. Then I have pretty much anything where I want to make changes manually to it. I mean, in this case, those initialized with -1, I don't do changes manually, but for example, the sprite resources I might change manually. Then I got something that are called the process variables. For example, tile ID, board tile X and Y, things that are get set programmatically, but that need to be part or need to be of certain properties of this object. So those I don't change manually, so those can go down here. Font color is also something that I might want to change manually, at least here in debugging. So essentially I'm just separating this. And the same goes here with flags. Usually I have also a section that is just flags. Just call this flags. In GameMaker you don't have a type of Boolean, but I think everything is either a real number or an integer, I think. So when I say something is of type int, or is everything even a real? What is real? Right, but I mean I can use true and false, but if I use 1 and 0 as integers, essentially it evaluates to the same outcome. Just something that you have to know. And there's Poke 89603. Thank you so much for coming by, and also Pickalick90 is also here again. Thank you. Yeah, and Pickalick just poked their nose in. And X313 redeemed unicorn. Right, sorry. I need to notify myself when you redeem something, because unicorn means I need to have a sip of water. Thank you for reminding me to stay hydrated. Right, flags. This is what I want, and my flag is debug problem equals false. So we start out, there is no problem, but we have a horizontal problem, and debug problem equals true. Not true. Okay, so is the screen frozen for anyone? Says December Day Games, and let me check there on my stream on my side, and the stream quality is excellent, at least on my side, so I hope it's not too much of a problem. It's good for me. Says, oh, this is, never mind. I just paused my Dropbox. Maybe this was the problem, especially in my art stream when I was working on something and saved the picture, and it tried to upload in parallel to my stream 200 megabytes onto the cloud. Things started to be not good. And Automatic Unicorn just said sparkle. Right, so then we have a debug problem, and I will use this flag here in the draw event. So if there is a debug problem, then we will draw the sprite in red, essentially. So draw sprite, I want to change this now. Can you see this? I really would like to be able to zoom in, but you know what? It works like this. At least in GameMaker it works, so that it's easier for you to follow. So instead of just draw sprite, I use draw sprite X for extended, and now there I have much more options that I can set apart from just the sprite and the image index and the X and Y, but I can also set with which color it is being rendered. So now I want to zoom out, that I can read here the help line there, the status help. Let's make this smaller. My god, it's so cramped here. Good, so first I need the sprite, then I need the image index. The green ones are inbuilt variables, so I don't need to define them because they are already given, like X and Y. Then the X scale, I'm not going to change it, so I think it's scale, image X scale and image Y scale. This is good. The rotation, I'm not going to rotate it, so I will just keep it at a 0. And the color, there we go. The color should be color equals white. It's the number, or it's the color the tile, the sprite is getting multiplied with. So if it's white, then it just has its default color. But if there is a problem, I will change the color to red or something. So color is white, but if debug problem, then color equals C, yeah, red. Let's make this red. And just color, and the alpha is 1. I'm not working with any kind of transparencies. And extra is here again, apparently the unicorn, or the unicorn just noticed you. Cool, okay, so just to test this, I will say the debug problem is true for all tiles when the neighbor is 2, for example. That just we can see if this works. So if n2 value equals 2, then we say there is a debug problem. Debug, there we go. So yeah, the unicorn will notice you or greet you more often than you've joined. So okay, so if there is a 2 to the right, we should see this here indicated, and apparently it works. So here is a 2 to the right, here is a 2 to the right of this one. Okay, so this is good. We know that this is working. Beautiful. So right now we don't have a problem in this case, but here we have a horizontal problem there. Okay, so essentially the first thing that I want to do is that we want to switch up because like I said, right now this always checks the west neighbor first and then assigns the east neighbor. But I can do this just do another random check, for example. So I need to declare those variables n1 and n2 first. And now I say if I random, again, a random number between 1 and 0 equals 0. Yes, then n1 is the west neighbor, and or otherwise we just change it. So yeah, really no big problem there. And there we go. So this is quite, I think this is the most straightforward way to just exchange this. And December Day Game says, I'm going to lurk, good luck with your game. Thank you so much. And yeah, I hope I'm not too distracting in one of your browser tabs, because if you don't know when or which browser tab is making the noise, yeah, it's okay to close my tab. It's okay. So let's have a look at this, but we're still getting this alternation between minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus. So okay, doesn't really matter with on which side we start to check for the sign first. In the end, at least in this configuration, it always alternate between plus and minus. This is good, this is healthy. No, it's not. We're going to change this. So I will zoom out now a bit, just to have a bit more real estate there on my screen. So essentially this was the horizontal check. So, and we also want to do this vertically, right? And I also wanted to make it possible that it's not just on which side we check horizontally, but essentially we just pick even we randomly say, do we want to first check horizontally or do we want to first check vertically for our tile neighbors? So I also want to make this yeah, just by random chance. Can you explain the game, how it is played? Says extra 13. And I've explained this multiple times before because it takes a couple of minutes. But you can find it as the automated unicorn already posted the link to my previous streams. I think with all the streams there right in the beginning, somewhere in the first 15 minutes or so, I explained the game as it is played. Again, I will try my best to make it as fast as possible, as always. So this is what the game essentially should look like. All the tiles are hidden and you have to click them open. The tiles alternate between the blue ones are clues and the orange ones are resources. And the resource could be between -3 and +3, and you have a clue. You spend one resource by opening a clue. And when you open a clue, it could be either a horizontal or either a clue that is either horizontal or vertically. So, and it always refers to the two resources, the two neighboring resources. And when you the thing is that one resource is positive, which grants you resources there on top, and the other is negative, which costs you resources. And also the thing is, when you click open one resource on one side, the other is automatically locked. So it's not that you have a +2 and or -2 and think, yeah, no, doesn't matter if I hit the wrong one, then I can just click open the other one. So this is essentially the gist of the game. And the thing is to open clues wisely and to take guesses and to infer or take the clues that you have. If you have to take a hit, it's something that is not as punishing as if you open a 3 and it is suddenly a -3. No, you want to deduce. If I open from this clue, the 1 here, whether it's plus or minus, at least I know whether this is a plus or minus and whether I be able to open it or whether it be good to open it or not. And if you run out of resources, again, each time you open a clue, it costs a resource. If you run out of resources, then the game is over. I think this is the gist of it. And I hope for all the people who already have heard this multiple times, I'm sorry, but I think I'm getting better at explaining the rules of the game. This is the first stream I've joined, Lol, says Extra. And thank you so much for joining. Lift again my unicorn mug in your honor, because it's so great to have new people on the stream. Thank you so much. So I hope this explained some things a little bit. Right, so this entire block here is changed horizontally. So should I make this there a block or not? You know what, I will keep it not. And yeah, I will just copy this entire thing here and use it for check vertically. And I can still use the neighbors here, where 1 and 2, they already have been declared, so I don't need this var here, this declaration, so I put it on top. So I'm just going to reuse N1 or N2. So the neighbor, it's not west or east, so all the neighbors that are west are going to be north and all the east are going to be south. What did I say? Just forgot it. South is, so E equals south, N equals, no, west equals N. And I will forget this, like I said, I just said it, and 2 seconds later I have forgotten about it. So, an extra redeemed unicorn. Cheers! I have to drink some water. Thank you. Right. West is north, east is south. Yeah, there we go. No, south. Right. So also check vertically. Yes, clue type is clue type vertical. Okay, so first problem here. We've defined that this clue type is now vertical. So you know what? Maybe we want to switch on whether it's vertical or horizontal. So again, I mean, right now we're defining it, so I think we can do this up here. So the clue type, we again use this random chance here. So if random equals 0, then clue type is horizontal, and then or clue type is vertical. Else, yeah, I don't need curly brackets here. Else clue type is vertical. Good. And now I just, if clue type equals clue type horizontal, then we run this entire horizontal block, and if not, then of course we run the vertical block. This is good. Else, and what I've come to do, just to know, especially when there are long statements that are in certain blocks, where is case? No, this is case clue type. Okay, just lost my way. So clue type horizontal. Did I close the bracket? Yes, I did. Did close the bracket. And just for myself, that I know, like I said, when I have long statements that go over multiple lines where I don't see where it's the beginning statement. So if clue type is clue type horizontal, I just say here end, let me zoom in, end of if clue is horizontal, so that I know what this code block is referring to, right? And Aten is here, and Luis L 83 is here. Thank you so much for joining. I'm really sorry if you intended to just lurk. The automated unicorn is relentless in ferreting out who just joined. Right, so this is the if statement that we just copy over here. If check horizontally. And yeah, this is, I mean, I don't need this check horizontally, this comment here, because this, we know that we are just checking horizontally. But this is get random first neighbor. No, this does not make a lot of sense. Should we call it decide which tile to look at first? Good. Always good code comments. I've seen on Twitter there. I mean, with code comments, it's usually there is once the tendency to comment nothing because the code should speak for itself. On the other hand, there is to document pretty much everything because you don't know what other person's level of proficiency will be with the code. And so either you have something with very obscure compiler macros and assembly injections that aren't commented at all. This is, I think, the John Carmack school of programming. Well, it's not true. He does document. And on the other hand is if A equals B, comment, this is whether to check whether A is equal to B. So yeah, and my guideline of, my way of doing comments is usually just to summarize what a certain block of code does, if it is not really very apparent at the first glance. And the other thing is when I'm doing things differently in one case, where my code comment says, yes, I know you would expect this to work like that, but it doesn't work because of this and this reason. This is why I have to write it like this. Essentially, it's just for myself when I open up a file that's like 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years old, and I know, and I look at something and think, why am I doing this complicated? It would be easier to do it the other way, and there is essentially this warning label on top of it that says, yeah, you would think it would work like this, but for this and this reason, it does not. So Crazy Boo says, comments are a thumbs up and nothing falls out of the view for a sparkly automated unicorn. No, it does not. It does not. By the way, I said unicorns. I will have now coffee. By the way, is the unicorn hungry? Let me just check it. How it is now. Not hungry. Okay, good. Right, so this is the horizontal. I can fold this up. And now, but if clue type is else, or we don't need an else if, because there's only for now, there's only 2 types of clues. I've also toyed with the idea that, just to show you again, so we have a clue that could be either one over the other or one next to the other, but I also thought of an ambiguous clue type that says one, it's diagonal to something, which could be either one over or one next to the other. Again, this is just to throw the player off a bit, but essentially it doesn't really matter, because a clue is either horizontal or vertical, and it is just how we're going to display it to the player. So it's just a display of information. So I can stay with else. So else, and then we open up curly brackets. And right at the end we say end of checking whether a clue is horizontal or vertical. And apparently I already closed this. No, I did not close it. Good. And do some nice indentation, and then I can continue here on the clue type if clue type is vertical. So north south, and essentially I just had to change. No, okay, so we don't need this entire big block of horizontal or vertical, because the code stays the same. Only this thing here, only this block actually changes. So this is good. This is good. So no, wait, maybe I will keep it like this, because maybe we also need to check not just horizontal or vertical, but essentially both, that we find out, okay, if a clue can't work horizontally, maybe it could work vertically. So maybe I will need to keep this around for now, and then, I mean, this is a prototype, so it really doesn't matter if a certain code is run or just copied twice, because it gives me a bit more flexibility to change. Good, okay, so essentially, yeah, it's just this thing here that has changed. Check vertically, just checking these neighbors. And the clue type is vertical. I don't need to set the clue type here again, because it is already set here. Did I do this here? Clue type is horizontal. This is awesome. Good, okay. So the clue should either be horizontal or vertical. The next thing is, of course, we need to display it here in the draw section. So if debug problem, there is a debug problem. Thanks for feeding the unicorn, Lady Mistleaf. Thank you. So if value equals or is not 0, essentially what value is the value of a resource number. And if something does not have a value, then it is by its nature a clue, because clues don't have values. And this is essentially, I could have also if value, or if tile type, or did I say just type, because we're in the tile, is equal to tile type resource, right? I think it makes more sense. Again, this is something that you would either comment or not, but I mean, I wouldn't assume that it is common knowledge, even in this code base, that something that does not have a value is, by, like I said, by definition, not a resource. So I think it's more clear if I just say if type is of type resource. Then we draw the tile sign, else it's a clue. Right, I have here also set up if the tile type is resource, and I've commented this out. Why? Okay, so just this displays the tile ID. So displays tile ID. This is something that I don't need, so I just say if 1 equals 2. So this won't be drawn. Good. So if type is a clue, then I don't need it. I just can use the or, and yeah, this extends completely down here. So if tile type is clue, essentially I can just move this around. So I just take the switch here. This one curly boy has no friend, so I can delete it. And yeah, it's a clue. It's a clue. And at the end of it all, I could display its tile ID if I wanted to. Again, it's drawn from the back to the front. So the first thing that I draw is the sprite. In our case, it's just this colored rectangle. And maybe if it's a problem, it is overlaid or multiplied with the color red, so it gets darker. So we just draw the sprite. Right now we draw it twice, so we don't need this. Just make it a bit more tidy. So X and Y, and then just a row for scale, row for rotation, color, and yeah, this can stay on its own line. This is good. This is good. So if it's a resource, we change the font to debug. I mean, we only use the debug font, but yeah, let's just keep it. We make it black, and the print value is empty. Then whether the sign is a plus, then we say plus, and the sign is a minus, then we say minus. And by default, if we didn't assign a value, then the value is a question mark, so that we know that there is something wrong. And you know what? If there is a question mark, I will also change the font color also to red. Draw set color. See red, just really that I know something's up. This is also one of the programming advice that I have from John Carmack, is to have values that, or if you have, for example, if you have something that has no texture, don't give it a discrete default texture. Let's say a dark brick wall or something. No, make it fuchsia, make it blink, make it really stand out, that you can see, okay, even if it has no value applied, everything works, but it's really apparent that there is a problem. It's like this huge blinking, or what was it in the source engine where the text was just 3D, where it said error, and I think it was red pulsating, which I think is quite good. So this is why, you know what, let's do even not red, but fuchsia. I think fuchsia is how you pronounce it, because, I mean, how else would you pronounce fuchsia? I'll stop. Fuchsia. Fuchsia. There we go. Fubar. All right. So if the clue type, case clue type, is horizontal, then we draw it like this. And if it's vertical, already coded this the last time, that there is one over the other. And extra said unicorn. Cheers. I have to drink. I have to drink. And then we print the one string top over the bottom string, and in the middle I used just 2 dashes, but it was very ugly, so I will just use an underscore or 2 underscores, which will probably make it even worse. You know what, I will save this and try to run this now and see whether it works or not. Okay, look at this. Look at this. It works, but we already have some problems there. Okay. Can I make... I really want to make this bigger, but I can't. Good, bad. Okay. So why is there a problem with 1 next to 3? Oh yeah, it's -1 and -3 and +1 and +3. Okay, so apparently there already are lots of problems with this algorithm that I came up with, where the clues themselves define the resources. And I think this problem that I have here, my god, this fuchsia on the orange, it's my god, this is horrible. Okay, you know what, I will try to make this even bigger, the room itself, just so that it's easier for you to follow along. So let's go to room. The room game is of size, let's make, I mean, this is the display size, it's just full HD, but since we're using just this part here, I can, yeah, you know what, let's do it like this. So the viewport, the enable viewport, the first viewport is not full HD, the first viewport is the small HD, 1280 by 720, then it gets scaled up to full HD, so this should make it a bit bigger. Good luck, broski. I'm out of now. Thank you so much, Extra, for sticking with me, and have a great Valentine's evening. Okay, so I think this should be a bit easier to read, and if I clamp it there on top, maybe then even better. So where is my object? The game control, no, the board control, because when the board control gets created, in the create event, it says here the starting X and the starting Y, and we start with Y, let's say just 50 pixels from the top. So then it shouldn't be cut off at the bottom, this playing field. Good, okay, so I think this should be... I'm lonely AF, says Extra Elmao, so no worries. Then just, I mean, this is Corona, so it's weird for pretty much anyone who's single, I would suppose. So yeah, all I can say is good luck there. I'm crossing my fingers and I'm squeezing my thumbs, as the proverb goes in German. I don't know why you would squeeze your thumbs, but yeah, just stay yourself and things will happen. At least this is how it worked for me. So if you're weird, all I can say is there's probably another weirdo out there just for you. Right. Okay, so in this board here, there are not as many problems, but there still are. You know what? I will try to come up with a number of boards that I don't have to recompile the game all the time, that when I hit space or something, that I will recreate essentially the board. This is something that would help me iterate over it. So again, I will make here a very special event that I usually don't do in the board, and the event is key down when we down the space key, all we do is essentially we delete everything, or you know what, we could restart just the room. I think this would be easier. Room, restart. And one thing that is very important is the board control persistent? Because if it is persistent, then we would create two objects that control the board, which is bad. You know what? Just make sure here in the create event, because this is intended to be a singleton, and because sometimes, very rarely it happens when you restart a room or something and you have persistent objects that get re-initialized or re-instantiated, and then suddenly you have two competing singletons. So, right, the first thing that I do here before doing anything else is if instance exists of this object that is control ctrl board borg borf barf. So then instance destroy. So at first it looks whether already something like it exists, and if so, then all others will be destroyed. So there is only the one and the first one that should stay. Okay, so instance destroy. Oh god, let's try and hit space. And beautiful how this does not do anything. Why does it not do anything there? Space. Apparently, I mean, this checking whether I'm hitting down space should happen at every point, but the room is already existing and also this object is existing. So you know what? Then I will do. I will have to destroy all tile objects and destroy the control board object itself and create a new one. Okay, it's already getting a bit messy. Instance create ctrl board, because when it gets created, essentially it just sets all the things. But first, of course, instance create doesn't work anymore, so we need to say instance create at depth, and the depth and x and y is right now 0 because I don't care. This is an invisible object. Okay, so instance, or let's destroy all tiles with object tile, which means all instances of the object type tile. Instance destroy, and with all control boards objects also destroy, or no, it's just itself. So instance create a new board. Now when I create a new board, the new board will destroy also itself because it already exists. So instead of destroying control board instance destroy, can I say that it should destroy all objects but not itself? Is this possible? I just opened the instance destroy the other instance in a collision event. Okay, this is not a collision event. Okay, it's already a bit messy what I'm doing here. Okay, so I just delete this and instead make sure that I really just have one control board object. So I just say instance create, and right away it should destroy itself. Instance destroy itself. Good. And then it restarts the room. My god, I really hope that this works. Apparently it works. Maybe I'm just creating boards on top of each other, but okay. So far it kind of works. I mean, look at this. This is suddenly a board that works. But I think, let me just see whether it's alternating. It's minus, plus, minus, plus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, 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 plus, plus, okay, minus, plus, minus, plus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, minus, plus, minus, plus. Okay, so apart from this thing here where it says minus, minus and plus, plus, it just alternates that it is possible for the game to work. And Lady Miss Leaf says, your unicorn may be a threat to technology because my automated unicorn apparently put a pie in the oven. It was a Raspberry Pi though. Okay, so there we have this ugly fuchsia thing, you know, instead of using fuchsia, because it's probably really hard to make out there on the stream with compression and everything. Instead of using fuchsia, I will say it should use the color white. Oh, there we are. See, white. When there is a problem. And the problem in this case where something is white means this thing here has no sign, because no clue, because all the clues are referencing some other resource. So this resource itself has no clue. Essentially, the resource has no clue. So what we could do in my level creation algorithm, there we go. Yeah, this should work. Is to recreate and just to keep trying boards again, just rolling the dice, hoping for things to fall into place randomly at once. You know what? Instead of using white, because it's also not easy to see, let's try aqua. Aqua. Okay, this looks horrible. Once you see it, you can see it. So again, look at this. This board works. But again, if you want, if you have something where you just want, where you know it, even if you're, I mean, if you're unlucky and you could have 1,000 tries and it would not arrive at the solvable board, then you have a problem, because again, this. I will look at it again, but it looks to me that most of the times the boards that are working are alternating. I mean, I'm just looking at the diagonals now, and here the diagonals say plus plus, minus minus minus, plus 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 plus, minus minus minus, all the way, plus plus plus, minus minus minus, plus plus. Okay, so I think now the problem that I'm having here with this way of creating my boards, or with the game in general, is that as a player, you quite likely to pick up that most of the time it's alternating between minus and plus. And so it's such a thing that you can almost count on this to be the case. So again, it would not be that much of a game of trying to find or trying to deduce what is under a given resource, whether it's plus or minus. But you could, I mean, if you just go plus minus, chances are very good that you'd be always correct, or at least like 80% of the time correct, at least in a board that's solvable. Like, you know what, I should use some kind of indicator where it knows the board doesn't have tiles that have no clues, or problematic tiles or something. And yeah, I need to think about this for a minute and maybe come up with a solution. I mean, solution is quite is already a stretch, right? So maybe I can change the rules of the game that it's not as problematic as it is now. And yeah, hello there, Athos. Yeah, right now I'm just checking the signs, whether they really alternate most of the time, but it looks like they do. Okay, again, when we go back to this one where I said okay, this also does not work. What I meant to say was, right now we have clues that are either horizontal or either vertical, right? But as I said, we could also have clues that are either or. It could be, this one could be horizontal, this one could be vertical, but to the player we are not telling what it is. We are presenting either this or either that as that, to the player at least, to make it a bit more ambiguous, right? But why does it not work? Because just as I said before, if you just assume that it's always minus, plus, minus, plus, minus, plus, you're pretty much in the clear like 80% of the time, or even more. Because, like I said, those boards have to wrap around both horizontally and vertically. So, you know what I could try is, instead of just, I mean, right now the algorithm just starts there on the first clue and then goes to the next and to the next clue, and essentially just defines whether it's a plus or a minus. Maybe I could put all those clues into a list, shuffle this list around so that it would randomly go through the clues. The problem there might be that there might be even more of those edge cases or problematic cases, and problems are those that are like in this question mark because it's not clear whether this 2 has a minus or a 3, or those dark red clues essentially. Yeah, you know what, I will just try this. Instead of picking the tiles one after the other, just picking the tiles randomly. Okay, so how do we do this? I mean, right now it kinda happens like this. I mean, at least because we do this here in the in the step event of the tile. So essentially it works like this. The game control, the board control, instantiates a number of tiles and then assigns the tiles alternatively in an alternating fashion to be either a resource or a clue about the resources. So the tiles get created one after the other, and it also would run one after the other when they are created, so their step event would also run one after the other. So essentially to try just for trying this, to have them randomly, I need to take this out, this function that the check or the assignment of the sign for each resource does not get executed automatically the first time, but whenever it is essentially queried. Oh, Lady Mistleaf says, you could try generating the tiles one at a time, generate a tile, generate the clues around them, then generate the next tiles and the next clues. And when you find a horizontal vertical clue that have 2 positives, negative, flip it to the opposite direction. I have to think about it. I think the problem there is that it would probably need multiple passes because for the wrapping, that it wraps over at the edges. So when everything works and then we go to the edges and then we realize that it does not work, then we flip something, then it wraps around. Now on top on the other side of the board it does not work anymore, and then we would essentially just do flipping and it would just go in waves around the entire board. The thing is, since I'm clearly no mathematician, whether it's actually possible to have an arbitrary distribution of pluses and minuses, or because right now it always gravitates to being alternating between plus and minus. Let's find out as I have it right now. You know what? I will code up. Okay, this board works. I just wanted to code up a solution. It just shuffles the boards until one works, like this one does, because there are no errors. And we have minus, plus, minus, plus, 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 minus, 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 plus, 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 minus, minus. So essentially, there we have 1, minus, minus, plus, plus. It would be nice if this would happen more often than, like, I feel it happens like 2% of the time. But as a player, like I said, when we assume it's minus, plus, minus, plus, and then we come to the one outlier, it's not that big of a problem for us as players, because the rest of the board will probably be correct. or alternating, as we've come to expect it. My other suggestions, as maybe misleaf, is to manually set a direction to all clues, tiles, positives, negatives, and randomly generate the numbers on it. Manually set the direction to all clues, tiles, positives, and negatives. I mean, the numbers themselves, the values, are not really important. The problem is the sign, right? And because we always have this duality there, get a few boards ready and randomly pick one for each board per se. My other suggestion is I have to parse your sentence again. To set a direction to all clues, tile, positives, negatives, then randomly generate numbers in it. By direction, you mean whether the clue is horizontally or vertical, right? And to create a number of boards that work, get a few boards ready and randomly pick one for each board. Okay, yes. So so that I essentially just generate manually a couple of boards. Do you mean this, that I manually essentially just lay out boards like I would lay out boards for a crosswords puzzle? And then just generate or just have a number of those and then just present the player with a random one, and where only the signs are set but not the numbers. My fear is that maybe players could pick up on that it's always starting, let's say, with a minus, minus, plus, and then you know it's that board. But it's a good idea. I like this. Again, I have a fear that sooner or later we all know that people are smart, especially those who play puzzle games, might figure out that the numbers are different, but the signs are always the same. Yeah, I'm still not quite sure whether this works mathematically sufficiently that it's a fun game to play. I mean, right now I'm 4 streams deep into this, so I've given this essentially 12 hours of thought. Well, plus a couple of hours that weren't me streaming, but were just me driving around looking like I was completely hazed, thinking about the rules of this game. So maybe I need to step completely back to the drawing board and come up with a completely different puzzle game, essentially. It's just because we noticed how hard it is to get a tile with no errors. Yeah. I mean, again, I really like this prototyping part. We try to find... I mean, you know the rules of the game, but try to find an algorithm to create valid games. And I think I've learned so much more about my own rules or the shortcomings thereof just by trying to get this work in code. It's actually a plan of mine for a mini game. Oh, okay. So I won't. Maybe I won't steal it. I won't promise it. You're talking about just manually presetting some things, right? Just the signs. Okay. But I'm just trying to come up with different ideas for the rules. Maybe those clues. It doesn't have to be an either or with plus minus. I mean, now that I'm thinking of it, okay, everything is laid out in a checkerboard fashion. And it's always alternating between, or not alternating, but it's either or, plus or minus on the opposite sides. So the chances are, when you think about it, the chances are quite good that it's just alternating plus minus, plus minus, plus minus all the way. I mean, yeah, of course it tends to behave like that. You know what? I will feed the unicorn a cookie now. Cookie. Are you still alive, unicorn? Oh my god. Unicorn Lady Mistliff says, I plan to have a board style game, Frogger style, but you have to pick the direction you're going based on instructions. I have the directions hard coded in one file, the grid in another, then randomly pick 2 to put in the same grid. I really like this idea of using of using hard coded, premeditated. This all sounds horrible. Premeditated boards for something, and then just try to hide it. Okay, so the unicorn doesn't want a cookie, and I think this is because it's running on glitch, and this is a quite good name for a service, so I might be running my own server there, because the unicorn might say, yeah, that it just woke up again, because I can't, I mean, I'm not paying for this service. So the unicorn just wakes up. So again, it has completely forgotten all the cookies that it had so far, or by whom. I mean, that it didn't store, but yeah, unicorn just reset essentially. So yeah, I'm probably will be running this, rolling this from my own computer the next time. Then I could do things more interestingly, and it's safe for this unicorn. I'm a little bit annoyed at this. And yeah, the automated unicorn is greeting everyone who's already watching this again. I'm really sorry if the unicorn is annoying. I said unicorn so often, I should probably have something to drink. And it's spamming the chat. Unicorn, what are you doing? Why are you spamming my chat? You hungry, unicorn? Not hungry. Okay, good. Okay. Back to the rules. Okay, if it's completely arbitrary, whether it's a -1 or a +1, where it could also be ++ or -- or something, then as a player you probably wouldn't. It would be mostly a pure guessing game, right? Okay, the other way. What if I try to create a valid board, or yeah, why bother? Or what if there are some signs already set where you know, okay, this is a minus and this is a plus, but I mean, it would rely too much on chance and luck if you can't rely upon certain facts that there is a minus somewhere or a plus somewhere. Okay, I have just another idea. That it's more like Minesweeper, right? Okay, let me draw this up in MS Paint again. Again, I'm just spitballing here. I have no ideas beyond what I'm just saying at a given moment. So shapes, lines. Yeah, now I'm holding down the Shift key like a pro to make the lines a bit more straight this time. And it doesn't quite work out here. Okay, then I'll just try to hide my mistake. Shapes, line again. I think this should be sufficient for a first board idea, and also here, that's not really square. This is not really square, but how much do I really care? There we go. Good. Okay, so thing is, okay, I'm just drawing here. I'm starting. No, other way. I will just try and start with what we have at this moment. So blue is clue and orange is resource. Right. Or should I use that blue? Yeah, I think I used that blue before. Because it's so pretty now, my 1960s kitchen floor design. Or maybe 1970s. Okay, so here's the deal. The clues still look like 1/2. Can you read this? I pick a bigger brush. 1/2, 2 next to 3, but it works, it behaves the same as before. When you open up a clue and you use it to open up one side, then it locks the other side. But you don't know where it could be minus or plus. Right, so far so good. But I mean, it could be minus minus, or it could be plus plus. So how do you know? Okay, and now here's the idea that I've been having, and I don't know how to incorporate this. But maybe you open up a clue, and instead of looking like this, it's a bit more like Minesweeper, where it says minus, or well, not minus. Let's pick white. Yeah, why not? It says here minus in a circle and 3. And you know, among its neighbors there are 3 minuses. But of course you don't know which ones, right? Does this make sense? And thanks for feeding the unicorn again. Let me just see there in the logs how hungry it is. And its tummy is quite full, but not too full. Okay, right. So, okay, I will just simulate playing this game with these rules right now. Maybe it will amount to something. Okay, cool. Then, I mean, right now we're at Minesweeper. So I open up this one here. And you know what? I will also draw me some resources. Or some 1, 2... Oh god, this looks like some children's game from the mid-90s. Those wobbly bits. Wobbly bits. Am I allowed to say this on Twitch, or am I getting banned? So, okay, so I have now a number of resources, and I know that numbers only go the resources from 1 to 3, for example, right? So the stakes are not too high. I'm here on +6. So if I'm really unlucky and hit 3 that are minuses, right, I open up, let's say I open up this one here. So open, cool. What do I have here? It's, let's say it's a -1. Okay, good. Then I lose 1, right? Good, bad. No, because now, doesn't work. Doesn't quite work. Because right now I'm still having this split between resources and clues. No, sorry, other way back. I could open now one field here, like I did it just now, and open this. And have to eat whatever is under it. But I could also use one resource and open another clue. And maybe I open up this clue here, and it says minus, like this, -2. So I could be quite certain that around among its 4 neighbors here, among these things here, there are 2 minuses. Since we have here 3 minuses among these neighbors here, the chances are pretty good that those 2 fields here are minuses, right? So these other 2 must be plus. So I spent 1 resource, but I've learned more about the board. So I'm going to open, let's say this one here. And look at this, it's a plus, it's a 3. Let's say 1, 2, 3, it's a +3, and this was good. So, right, so I wouldn't open up this field here and this field here. I would flag it somehow and say, no, this is not good. Now I can, with this 3, I can open up, let's say 1, 2, 3 more clues, right? Would this be fun? Does this make sense? No indicator of value anymore, says Cursey-Boo. Exactly, in this idea that I'm having, no. So essentially the values that you have would be completely luck-based. So you could be... yeah, I mean, right now we're pretty much back to Minesweeper, right? But instead of stepping on 1 bomb, you might step on 3 when you're unlucky. So yeah, I think it might be too close to the original Minesweeper then. Missed a part to get food, says Lady Misleaf, trying to determine how to set up the board, or you're doing redoing the rules. I'm completely redoing the rules. Essentially, I'm just in this version here, I'm instead of letting the player know what are the resource values, I'm using Minesweeper-like rules where all the 4 neighbors of a clue, where it only indicates how many minuses are among its 4 neighbors. And you, with each clue you open up, you still spend a resource. But now that I had opened this resource where it says -2, this clue -2 and -3 here, and let's say maybe I open up this one and it also says -2. So I could be pretty sure that this one here is a minus, for example. But again, it plays a bit too much like Minesweeper and not with much of the fun part. Because I always find the fun part with Minesweeper is where you just open up, especially in the earlier levels, where you just open up one field and there's nothing underneath, and it would just open up a wide swath of the entire board for you first, to get a feeling, okay, it's this big, but there are only certain islands with problems there. Sounds like a fine sweeper game. Exactly. Yeah, I think this would be too close to the original Minesweeper, because I really liked this thing where you had this additional dimension of resources there. But I mean, in the original board here, in this idea, the numbers themselves, the resources, aren't that important, right? I mean, in the end, all you're considered with, is it a minus or is it a plus? And this would be the same here for Minesweeper 1.15. I do like it, says Lady Misleaf. It's not find all the negatives, it's find all the positives, like Minesweeper with treasure. Minesweeper with treasure. Exactly. So, my God, has already somebody done Minesweeper with treasure? I have this. On one thing, I love the idea. So much so that I would love to steal it, but then again I have this faint, vague recollection that I've seen this somewhere where it's Minesweeper has turned the positive, where you just try to find something. But I like this idea of finding the treasure. This you put something in there. Nice. It's only one step to Minesweeper with loot boxes. Okay, yeah, probably. Minesweeper with loot boxes. What do you think, Phil? It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, okay, perhaps. Yeah, Minesweeper has hard pickups, exactly. So essentially what I'm having here right now, those hard pickups are the numbers of tries you're allowed, or missteps you can take. And with this setup here is, because you don't know which number is underneath something, it's like in Minesweeper where you have a tile with more than one bomb, essentially. And the clues are always, like I said, in this checkerboard configuration, so it's never, you don't get the joy of clicking something open and it opens up a wild area of the field. It's like saying a farming sim game was already done with Harvest Moon, so Stardew Valley was pointless. It's not about the game mechanic, it's the execution. Yes, but I feel that with Stardew Valley there was so much added onto Harvest Moon in just the right places that I feel that Harvest Moon can go fudge itself in comparison, because this is quite interesting, because with Harvest Moon I really liked the game. I played it, I don't know when, but it was on an emulator, because I never saw it even in stores, at least here, or never was interested in what I've read about it. And then I just tried it and was completely smitten with the entire premise. And for years I thought, why doesn't anyone do a proper reimagining of this game? And then out came Stardew Valley, and it felt like there was so much done right with this game, and it improved so much over the original Harvest Moon. in breadth and also in depth. So I feel that the original Harvest Moon is really, now I don't like it anymore in comparison because Stardew Valley is so good. And my point is that I don't know if this game has so much that I could add onto it, which would enrich the experience in comparison to what Harvest Moon, what Stardew Valley has over Harvest Moon. But I mean, we're still here in the early planning stages, so maybe I find something. But yeah, oh, Cookie, yeah. I just mean the fact that you say it was already done in the past shouldn't stop you. Right, exactly. But I feel that at this point, I'm a little bit hesitant to already think into this direction, if you know what I mean, because I feel like maybe I'm getting too much influence by what is already there. I think this is what I want to say. I'm really sorry for being so unclear so in my ability to verbalize something. And the up guy is 123. Is here, and the unicorn again. The unicorn just called you out, so thank you so much for dropping by. Okay, you know what? I will try to keep with this idea, with this one that I just outlined here, and I'm just thinking of adding another resource, or am I already overcomplicating things there? I mean, now we know that those are minuses, those are things that we don't want. Instead, we could say that those are the pluses, how many treasures, let's call them treasures for now, how much treasure is buried on the other fields. Next question is, do I really need to keep it in as checkerboards configuration, or does this not be fun? Does this not be fun? I mean, would it work? I mean, right now it's this harsh differentiation between a tile is either blue is a clue or orange is a resource. Hex, that's Lady Mistleaf, and again, I'm a bit averse to hex, but you know what? Let's try this. You know, I will even save this there on my... Oh, it's already on concepts. I will give it today's date and say Minesweeper 1.15 concept. Yeah, this is what I will call it. And then let's try with hex. Like I said, I'm quite averse to hex because I'm just dread how to program it. But then again, so many games are in hex and it can't be that hard. I mean, as long as I don't need to come up with my own matrix transformation algorithms to do 3D graphics, I think hex is something that I might be able to pull off. So where's this hex shape now? Okay, so is this a good hex? Copy paste. Can I paste this now? Of course, this is Game Maker. Not what's Game Maker called for graphics programs? Right, it's this one. Paint. My God, I just forgot the name Paint because I was so busy trying to come up here with hex things. You know what? Maybe I should have just googled hex grid or something instead of trying to come up with my own. Hex Minesweeper with treasures as made listed. I think Hexagon from back in the DOS days. I have never played Hexagon from the DOS days. Let me bring up. Where is my browser? Where's my browser? Can't find it. Let's open a new browser there. Hexagon DOS. Hexagon DOS. Maybe I've seen it. No, I've never seen this game whatsoever. But it looks like something that I would enjoy greatly because I got my original Xbox 360. I bought it so I could play Alan Wake and Forza Horizon. Was it Forza Horizon? No, it was another Forza game. But Alan Wake essentially was why I wanted to have this console. But the thing that I completely binged way too long was Hectic, or what was it called? The Hexic, right? This puzzle game that was also by Alexei Pajitnov for the Xbox. It was just, yeah, I think it was a match 3 kind of game, but Yeah, never mind. RedBlob Games has an article about how to code hexagonal grid coordinates, says Crazy Boo. Oh, I think I've seen this, but it's good to for you to remind me again. RedBlob Games hexagon. There we go. Hexagonal grids. March 2013. Yes, this is the one. This is the one. Thank you so much that I've seen before. My god, this is a treasure trove. It even does pathfinding, right? Intersecting ranges, rotation. I mean, at this point, I would say either way, with this, I can completely code it up myself, or the lazy Phil would say, there might be already a library with the implementation of this. Oh, look at this. This is... okay, can't right click, but... Okay, so this is pathfinding apparently. Field of view. Oh, okay, so this is super nice. This is really nice. Hex to pixel. Oh dear, those big brackets. Those big brackets. I don't like them. I don't like those big brackets. But hexagon was more like Othello. What was Othello again? Oh, maybe I should not. I should keep that tab. Othello game. What was this one? Reversey. All right. This one. I played this on my dad's computer, where in DOS, where we had these little smiley faces, the black ones and the white ones that would alternate. I've never understood how the game worked, but I just loved it that it had little smiley faces. Okay, so right, hexagon grid, so that I can just have something to get started with. Drawing hexagon there on Stack Overflow. Is this a good image to start with? Probably not. Hexagonal grid from Wolf Meth World. Oh, it's even PNG file. Yeah, I just need something that I can screenshot and then bring over to Paint. That I can easily fill. You know what? A file type PNG. Not file type PNG. Polar coordinates of vector. Oh my god, I hate this already. Docs.geotools. This looks like they're... Yeah, I think this looks like something. Copy image. This looks exactly like something that I can use. Perfect. Nearest neighbor scaling, which I like because then I can easily fill them out. Cool, okay, so here we go. Where was my hexagon thing idea from before? Okay, so again, I will try this to have some sort of alternating I think this is how a checkerboard equivalent would look like in hex, right? And everything else is just a clue. No, the clues would be in the middle. Blue is a clue, right? Okay, blue is a clue, and the resources would be surrounding the clues. Am I correct so far? I think I'm correct so far. And those are the resources. My god, coloring in is so much fun, even if it's just clicking something. There should be more games that require you to just color something in, I feel. Okay, I'm getting a big flashback of Hexig now, where it's just you rotate always 3, I think, a set of 3. Anyway, okay, good. So let me, can I zoom in a bit more? Oh, I got so much flashbacks now from Windows 3.1, where it was still called Paintbrush. Right, okay, so let's start here with something where it just means the amount of treasure among its neighbors is 2. Or let's use a different color. Let's say 2 treasures are somewhere among here. And just for ourselves, let's say just the treasure is here and here. Or let's just distribute some more treasures there. Just making their white dots. Just for myself, so that I can figure out the rules. And Jenktron is here. The unicorn spotted you. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so we have here 2. This is 2. This is also, no, this is, yeah, this is also 2. This is 2. And this is not fun. I need to distribute more treasures. Okay, so now it's 3 here, 3, and there it's 2. My God, look at this ugly 3 here. -1 for mines, +1 for treasure. So we have mines, of course, mines and treasure then. Okay, so yeah, this I like this, mines and treasure. So I make the mines, well, maybe let's make them green or brown dots. Do you see brown dots there on the stream? Is this the thickest it can go? So let's also distribute here some mines, which are just brown dots. Okay, so the mines here where it just says 1 mine. Can you read this? Yeah, it looks okay there on the preview. Okay, so this is 1 mine, 1 mine, 2 mines, 2 mines, 1 and 2, and for treasure we have 2, 1, 2, also 2, 1. 1, there is also 1, and none. So when there is none, I just make it a dot or just leave it out. So there is just 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, cool. So when I click something open, that is not a treasure nor a mine. Okay, so maybe the game starts with the clues already revealed, or do I also need to click open the clues? Thank you, Automated Unicorn, you're very helpful. Bad Unicorn, no laughing at Phil. Well, maybe it was just laughing because it thought of something funny. Who knows? Slap. Right. So so let's assume that you start the field, you start the game, and all the clues are revealed, and you just click somewhere. And if it's not a bomb nor a treasure, then it just should flood fill the surroundings until, if you click here, maybe then it should open up all the others. So you still know there is just one surrounding it, like one mine, right? Right. Okay. Or is this already too helpful if it opens up? Or just open the one, says Lady Mistleaf, and the Automated Unicorn sparkles. Yeah, if you open one, then you open one and there is nothing underneath, neither mines nor treasure, just some sand dunes, because this is set on the beach, because there you can find treasure and mines. It's a horrible beach. Yappy guy says, I gotta head out, school starts tomorrow, I'll watch the rest from the VOD, bye. Thank you so much for sticking around this long, and all the best for school tomorrow. And again, if you're watching this on the VOD, welcome back, Yappy guy. Okay, right, so I opened this one, and should also the clues update when I pick something? Maybe, you know what, let's try this. I open up this one here, and there is treasure. So let's make a treasure chest there. My God. Okay, let's just make it a box. It is horrible, but that's why the pirates buried it there. Yeah. So I open up a treasure chest. Should the clues also update from 2 to 1, and they're from 1 to 0? So that, which would mean I have found the treasure. You know what? I think I would need to code this thing up also as a prototype again, probably. But maybe at this stage, maybe what I should also do is do a little bit of research whether there are already a hexagon-themed Minesweeper games, because I have this vague feeling of that I have seen something like this somewhere before, and I don't want to reinvent something just worse that is already there, or even worse, that I invent something that is already there and for some reason arrive at the exact same design idea, or well, at least 90%, where the other designers can say, hey, I just stole their idea, and would be able to prove it. And even if I could prove it that it's an original idea, essentially it would play the same. Yeah, I think I would probably have to code up the entire hexagon grid first to be able to try this as a prototype and see where to go from there. But before that, you know what, I will do this right away. And hex grid. No, where is my browser window? There we go. Minesweeper with hex. Okay, there we already got one. Hexa Minesweeper is already an Android app. Hex Mines. Okay, let's play some Hex Mines and see how they solved it. Oh dear. Oh dear. Inspiration. What it does, how it is built. Built with HTML and JavaScript. It's hexmines.com. Oh dear. Oh, and I can all or pay it or use a payment plan. My god, really? Oh, okay, so this is just for the domain. I just thought, how much do they want? $2 and 1.95 cents. Really, this is a weird decimal point. Oh dear, because in German you use a comma for decimals and a point to separate thousands, and in English it's the other way around. This is why I just, yeah. Okay, so Hex Mines apparently is not around anymore. I was curious how it would have been played. Hex Mines. So apparently Hex Mines, exotic Minesweeper. Hex is a thing. Look at this Minesweeper on Android, where you have different sets of triangles and so on. So yes. Download free exotic Minesweeper game or get the full version of exotic Minesweeper game. Try also another game of the genre, Crazy Minesweeper. Okay, now I'm the rabbit hole. What is so crazy about this? This doesn't look really crazy to me. The full-featured Minesweeper game is a challenging game of strategy and luck. This Minesweeper includes two modes, Classic and Crazy, where Mines has a different power. There are many improvements and modifications. Okay. This is a progressive Minesweeper clone with a large best play. I mean, it's interesting that the grammar sounds a bit off. Lady Misleaf said, yours has dedicated clue spaces, though it's not the same. Yeah, that's true. That's true, where the clues are just in the middle. The object of the game is to find all the mines on the playing field without uncovering any of them. The position of the mines is always different to every time. The game will be a new unforgettable experience. You need good thinking and ability to analyze and play Crazy Minesweeper game. Okay, so yeah, what Lady Misleaf said, yeah, with having those dedicated spots for clues, it's a bit different than the other. This is true. Yeah, I really feel that I should start to code it up, but with the hex grid, it looks like I need a different sort of hex grid. I need to rotate it. Can I rotate this around by 90 degrees? Because as I recall it, you have also like rows of hexes, and there would a row look like this, and I don't like to code this, because if a row looks like this, it would be much easier, I feel, to stuff into some sort of array. And says Lady Misleaf, you should be able to win the game by finding all the treasure, never mind how many mines you found. So essentially, yeah, maybe you have a certain set of hearts or lives or so, again, like in Minesweeper, that you can afford some missteps. Maybe the treasure is not just treasure, but also maybe some items where you can safe open a tile or peek under something. Well, peeking under something doesn't really help. It would be just like opening a tile anyway. So yeah, I'm thinking already in terms of items or something. So, Oh, automated unicorn made a mess. So it's still digesting, says my log. This is good. Right. Cash and gems. Yeah, this sounds like loot boxes again. You can find cash, but you maybe want to find gems that you can spend for nice little hats and different coats for your unicorn. Cash is great. Gems allow you to buy power-ups in the shop, like a mine detector. Okay, so it sounds like one of those free-to-play games, but instead I'm just handing out the premium currency. But you know what? I like this, that you can buy stuff with some of the treasure that you find. So, but in the end, you can also, okay, here's the deal. The high score, because my games have a high score because we're still living in the 80s and arcades are king, is you get the highest score by you can always exchange your gems for gold. Let's call it gold and not cash. You can also always exchange for gold. I mean, right now we're in the meta game, but yeah, never mind. But or you can spend them. Well, then do you really need gems? But you could also spend some of your score to buy stuff. Do we really need to change or to have two different sets of resources? Lady Mistcliff says cash is great. Gems allow you to buy power-ups like a mine detector. Gems for one-time use only. For one-time item use only. Maybe cash to dress up your character. And PJ Partridge is here. The unicorn found you. And yeah, I'm boring the automated unicorn apparently. Right. So yes, you know what? I think I should start coding this grid or hex thing first before doing anything else, because once I got this hex thingy going, then perhaps I can think about distributing all those rewards and bombs and so on. The bomb. I don't know why I want to say bomb, but it's fun. Cookie, yeah, you fed the unicorn. And its tummy is at 14.4. Right, so if I turn the entire playing field by 90 degrees, does this work in Paint? Rotate. Left 90 degrees. Where is everything? There is everything. So, I mean, it looks a bit awkward right now because those hexagons don't look like I'm used to hexagons, but I really like that they are just straight rows. Because it's like just, I mean, if I'm looking at this, hexagons are just like, yeah, rows of something with an offset of half a tile. But I mean, it looks of course nicer like this. I don't know why I like it if it looks like this nicer. So essentially, you just have columns that are offset by a half thing. So essentially, it's I'm just trying to wrap my head around how hexagon grids work. So yeah, it's just this offset by one half. Horizontally and vertically, it's just rows or just straight columns. Lady Mistcliff says the hex grid shouldn't be too hard to do either. It's similar to the way you had to alter the clues per line in the last prototype. You had to alter the position of the hexes based on which line they are at. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Oh, sorry, spacebar doesn't work to move the view around in Paint. So in terms of coding, essentially, so if I have everything as an array, this would be, or a two-dimensional array probably would need a two-dimensional array. So row modulo 2, says Lady Mistcliff. So if I'm here in something, then, I mean, this would be row 1, this would be row 2. Yeah, like this. And to find some neighbors, I mean, maybe instead of just looking at this, I should instead just look at this beautiful post here of hexagonal grids by RedBlob Games from 7 years ago, but updates as late as March 2020, because probably this would make things much easier. Genau, this was just a Germanism, which means exactly or precisely. Precisely, so we got flat topped and pointy topped, and I like the flat topped. No, I enjoyed, like I said, I like the pointy top now better because it looks like little flowers there. Maybe I could make the game flower themed, right? Where it's either you have a bug there or a dewdrop. I mean, this would be so, I don't know, almost overly kitschy or cheesy if you have bugs and dewdrops on the flower petals there. I mean, it would probably turn off a certain kind of players. But once you say, yeah, those are bunkers and those are where you can send your tanks, essentially it would be the same game. You know what? I could do this as a joke, essentially, where just reskin the game, where once it's just happy flowers and cute little bugs, and the other is just for the super militarized Call of Duty fan player where everything is just tanks and bombs and jets and stuff. Yeah, again, I'm already 20 steps ahead before actually implementing any game code. Hate is half the hate of the piece. Yes, this is with the flat topped, right? Horizontal position is piece plus or minus 0.5 of the piece, depending on if the row is even or uneven. Marines from StarCraft, yeah, and I like the double hate variant, or variant, says Cursey-Boo. Double hate, you mean, are you talking about the hexagons? Or the hexagon appearance, flat topped or pointy topped, where they are just twice as tall as wide, or the other way around? I'm a bit confused. please elaborate, Cursey-Boo. Geometry, flat or pointy, flat or pointy. Oh my god, it's messing here in my head where something is. So, the flat topped is easier for the sides, I think. I mean, I don't have to draw them, right? I really don't have to worry about drawing them. My god, this is so nice that you click something and here it updates even in the source code. Mwah! This is beautiful. Yeah, okay, so here we have it, the height times twice the size. We get the square root of something, and the width. You know what? Half or pointy? I'm not quite sure what I want, because I need to really define this early on. Cursey-Boo says, on the RedBlob page there's one of the coordinate styles. So, double hate. Oh, this one here. Double width or double hate? Height. Hate. So the pointy top, essentially. This is a flat top and a pointy top. So you like the flat top better. What do I have? I've already forgotten. So this is okay, the flat top as well. So again, this would make the rows a bit harder. Well, relatively harder to calculate. But I mean, it's just, in the end, it's just wobbly rows. It's just sinusoidal rows, essentially. I mean, this looks nice. -1, +1, -1. This -0, -2, yeah, I mean, in the end. This one here is easier because it just extends in terms of in the vertical just by 1, and this by 2, -2, so 2 halves essentially, right? Again, I'm just trying to make my life much easier in terms of coding, and I really have to define this early on, I think. You need the wobbly rows or wobbly columns, depends on which you like. Yeah, and again, I'm I still don't know the entire ramifications, whether I go for one or the other, or what problems I will run into. Like I said, this is my first time with this bee stuff thing here. I'm talking about the little insects, the bees. Do bees go pointy top or flat top? Diagonals moving to a diagonal space in hex coordinate changes from the 3 cube coordinates by plus -2, then by minus +1. The sum must remain 0. Okay, so as before, you can convert the diagonals x, y, and z. Oh my god, it's a bit problematic. Distances. Yeah, I'm probably not really worried about distances in one sense, so it's plus. Okay, so I need 3 coordinates for pointy top. How do I need for flat top? Yeah, I also need 3. So flat top is a triangle. In terms of flat top, I mean, flat top looks kind of nice actually. Really, I'm torn between. I'm really torn between pointy top or flat top. Or pointy. No, this is pointy. Or flat. Okay, I really have to do the following. Okay. So how should the hexagons look like? Pointy top or flat top? And I want this to run for, let's say, 3 minutes. Okay, so you should have a poll in your chat, so please help me decide whether we want the pointy or the flat top. Let me make this big here. Flat or pointy? Or where am I? This is... yeah. Because I really can't make up my mind, which I thought, again, I think in the end it really doesn't matter, because the only thing that I'm thinking about is in terms of arrays, it's easier to go horizontal, or it's easier to calculate the horizontal things. So those could be wobbly, but the vertical ones, I really want them to be in defined lines. So for that I would favor probably pointy, because there I have just lines where something is on top of another is just offset by -1. But again, then I have to do it the other way, where it's just in the other dimension. So the cube coordinate system, each hexagon is a cube in 3D space. Yeah, I think, yeah, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So maybe if I'm using this cube coordinate space, I think this makes a lot of things easier. Then again, I'm not quite sure if I would need it, because in the current idea or implementation that I have, everything is really just considered with the number of neighbors that it has. So I'm not calculating any distances between things. I'm not doing any sort of path finding through the coordinate system. I'm not using any sort of radius extension or something. Really, I'm just concerned with this is the clue and this is where things are. Maybe later on I could have clues that they encompass maybe more or bigger distances, but yeah, I mean, this is something that testing would need to reveal. There are different ways to do chords, even with pointy top orientation or flat, says Cursey-Boo. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I'm really just thinking I'm trying to think of all the cases that I would need to cover, because again, if I start out with a completely, not to say wrong coordinate system, but with one where I make things much harder on myself, once I realize, yeah, maybe I want to do path finding or something, or maybe I want to extend, like here, certain distances, And then it would be much harder if I do this just trying to do it with an array in 2D, or instead where I just could use a cube distance essentially. But then again, I mean, this is what prototyping is for. So looks like one vote that flat top has won, and this would be how this looks like in the end. So the website shows some, says Cursey-Boo, and probably I should really first read through this entire beautiful thing there on hex grids again after many years, because there we go, coordinate systems. Because there for the flat tops I probably use odd Q or even Q, right? So where we start going down from the first hex tile, or we're going up from the first hex tile horizontally. And vertically it doesn't matter because it's just a straight column. I'm sorry, automated unicorn, really. Well, I have some coffee. Right. So again, thank you for voting in my poll with one vote, but hey, it's enough. It's 100% of the people who voted said flat top, and I think I will go for flat top. For some reason, it looks much more friendly and nicer than this pointy top. So thank you, Cursey-Boo. I would assume that you were the one who voted that I shall go for flat top. And this also means essentially that I can start completely over with my game maker project. So I will just create a new project, or I will just save this one here, save project as, and I called it time game. Can you see this? I called it time game just now. Now I'll call it hex game version 01. And pretty much throw everything out that we have. So do init, switch type, whether it's a type clue, well then it uses the clue type. Yeah, you know what? I will delete this entire code here. Break case resource break, otherwise it's open. It has no owner in tile. Then re-register this. Good, okay, so this is the tile, then we draw the tile, debug problems, draw sprite X. Yeah, we probably need to do this drawing thing, or we need to distribute them, not just one next to the other, of course. Tile neighbors, then we got not north, south, east and west, so I need to find other ways of how I reference those neighbors of a certain tile. Is there already a given actual coordinates, doubled coordinates? My god, what are doubled coordinates? Oh, of course, yeah, this one. Comparison, offset doubled actual cube, axial, not actual, I'm sorry. Pointer rotation, odd even double height, axial Q, other rotations. My god, this is so helpful. Easy algorithms, few, some, most or all. I like this. Maybe we should go with cube then, because easy algorithms, all are easy. Hexagonal symmetry, yes. Hash storage, any shape. Array storage, oh no. But I would love to have arrays, but apparently it does not make sense then. Vector operations, yes, I probably won't need vectors. My god, this is a very, very helpful table here. Rectangular maps require an adapter as shown in the map storage section. Okay, so essentially, yeah, this is how you store it in an array then. Okay. This is really, really helpful, but again, shape rectangle, rhombus, down triangle, up triangle, array of arrays. Okay, yeah. I mean, an array of arrays would make things probably much easier, especially like this, but then again, I think I'd be happier with a 2D array. So yeah, map storage on actual axial coordinates. Alright, yeah, cookie for the unicorn. Yes, the unicorn, is it hungry? Well, not particularly, but it could need something. So you know what, I will also give the unicorn a cookie. And I'm out, says Lady Misliff. Have fun. Thank you so much for dropping by and your help. Have a great evening and see you soon. Okay, so yeah, I really need to find this now here. So let's start with a rectangle. And 1 minus 2 minus 2. 6 6 1. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if I can wrap my head around this hex grid there. Again, this is entirely new to me, and I really am a big fan of one-dimensional arrays because it's so much easier for me. But store hex, you are at array R and row R, flat top hexes, swap the rows of the rows and the columns. Use a hash table instead of a dense array. This allows arbitrarily shaped maps, including ones with holes. Maybe this makes sense using a hash table then. Because, I mean, I like the idea that the playing fields don't have to be, don't have to have a given shape, right? Offsets coordinates was the easiest for array storage, says Cursibu, and yes, this is true if I recall correctly, but the easy algorithms few. But then again, I don't need a lot of algorithms, right? I don't need pathfinding, like I said, I don't need. And if I really find out that I would need them, then I can still try to understand cube things or axial storage. So I probably would go for offset then. Pointy rotation, even odd. Flat rotation, even Q, odd Q. Double height. Or should I use the doubled? Well, some hexagonal symmetry, hash storage, any shape, this is good, but yeah, I'm not using hash storage. Array storage, no, okay. Then again, do I really need an array? But I need to store it somehow. My God, I'm so intimidated by hexes. Other rotations? No, I don't need rotations. Then double width. So maybe this could work with 1, 2, 4, 6, 0. Yeah, doing this double thing here might also be worthwhile. Because that way, like I said, since we have the clues that are like in this flower layout, then would this work? Because now they are offset, so there would be 1, 3. Let's assume this is 0, 2. The next one would be a 2, 4, 4, 2, 6, 4. I think this double height would make it easier, but double width layout. Again, really, this is a very hard choice. But offset coordinates, yeah, I think offset is the way to go because it's just this wobbly line. The page gives algorithms to calculate neighbors in a given direction. Yeah, right. Calculating neighbors, I haven't looked into that one as well. So you know what? If I want an arbitrary shape, then I could store, let's say, just nulls at a certain thing and then use it like this. So if I want, I mean, everything is just in this grid layout there, and then I could maybe exclude just some tiles. So even if I want to have holes or something, then I think I could make it work. You don't need to come up with them yourself, says Cursibu. Exactly, but then it feels a bit like cheating. At least I want to fully understand what's going on. Automated unicorn, what are you doing? No, get off Reddit. I don't know, maybe it's a bit grumpy today. Right. The most common approach is to offset every other column or row. Columns are named col, q, rows are named ru. Yeah, r. So q is a column, r is a row. Okay, you can either offset or the odd or even column. So you know what? I will try to start now in Game Maker, just laying out a hex grid. Just anything. So where is Game Maker? There we go. So for this to work, I need to make a sprite for the resources, and yeah, let's try to make good looking hexagons that fit perfectly together. And polygon tool, and I already think that I should import a sprite then, because I don't trust that I can draw a working hexagon. Okay, we set a flat top, right? We will settle at flat top. Good. So I just horizontal spacing, flat point. No, it was flat, right? So I would just try to use this as a reference. And how big did we have it? 64 pixels, I think, if I recall correctly, what we wanted to have. So essentially, again, really, this is just for reference. I'm not using this, but just so that I know how it is laid out roughly inside what we have here. So essentially, I just draw a polygon in Photoshop, and yeah, this got one corner too less, too little. What's the right word? Too less, too little. Not enough corners. That's the problem. So yes, I think this is how it should look like, the polygon at least. And Violet's TV is here. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just trying to come up with hexagons and stuff. So the first thing, as you can see, that is throwing me off is that it's not. It doesn't look nice in a square. I mean, if I center it there in the square, then it feels like I don't have enough. Yeah. Is it a polygon? Yeah, that I'm not using up all the space that I can. So again, it's a bit hard for me to figure out how I want things. Okay, so right, colors. So the fill should be, or for default, should be gray, and the stroke should be just a bit darker, and then I can color it in however I want it to look like in Game Maker, essentially. Maybe the stroke is too big. Just two, like this. And you know what? I will maybe align it on top, but then again, no. You know what? I will align the origin. That the origin in Game Maker is exactly in the center. So then I just have to take the width of it times 2, or while the width already is times 2. So just add the width to it, and then it works. The problem will be with the height. So the height is different of the width. This is just something that I need to consider. So then again, I can probably align it to the top. Yeah, I don't need a ratio. Thank you. Okay, so what are the dimensions right now when I'm done with clipping this down? 64 pixels wide times 56. Yeah, this makes sense, right? So this is yeah, if we divide this by 8, what would be the ratio be? 8 times 8 is 64, and was it 8 times? My God, it's 7 times 8, so it's 8:7 is the ratio. Good to know, I think. Okay, my god, hexagon grids. Let's try to save this thing. Well, I'm pretty sure that I know how to save things. Game maker, tile game. Yeah, let's keep it under tile game and assets and just call it Hexa 6456 version 01. And import it there as a sprite. Right. How? Image, import image. I don't need it there actually inside the sprite editor. I can use it here. Import assets. There we go. Hexa. It's not. Yes, I want to continue. Good. And then I want to have the origin in the center. How do I do this? Broadcast message. This is new. This is nice. Collision mask. This is also interesting. Precise diamond? No, this won't work. Precise. Right. I want this to be in the center, middle center. Good. Okay, sorry for dithering around with this one here. And the automated unicorn shakes its mane at least. Okay, good. So we got this thing here that sprite tile open and tile clue. I can just delete this actually because I don't need it. Because my tile, where's my tile object? My tile object can use the same sprite for everything else and just needs to color it differently. So objects, tile. So sprite resource is tile sprite resource. And then I just say color default equals C white, color resource equals C orange, or age. Is there no orange? Fuchsia gray, light gray, maroon, navy, olive, orange. Of course there's orange in color. Clue equals C blue or aqua. Let's make it in horrible aqua to stay in tune with this channel theme. And color, let's say open equals C gray or something, just that we know that there is something going on there. Okay, and when we draw something, we draw the sprite with the color, and the color is, you know what, I make here a color current, or I just call it color, and the color is color default, just for starters. And since this is something that I won't be editing anyway, I just put it down here. So color is color default, and there in draw the color, I don't need this as a variable there because the var variable is just a temporary variable and I don't need it as a temporary variable. So we draw it there. Good. So when the sprite is a clue, then we don't change the sprite, but we say the color is of color clue, and the same thing is when it's a resource, it's of color resource, and otherwise it's of color default. Good. Okay, so at least in terms of presentation it should look as before. Then there in the draw things, tile sign plus, tile sign minus, we don't need those tile signs. So print value, we don't draw the text. I mean, I will keep the text drawing thing here, but I don't need it. Clue type, it's a clue horizontal, clue vertical, so this doesn't make any sense now in this version, so we don't need this. Debug neighbor IDs, maybe we need this, I will keep it in for now. Display tile IDs, yeah, this also might be something that we need, so I keep this also in here. Good, so this value is never used. Yeah, never mind. Good, okay, so draw game, draw the board. Okay, so when I key down, we create a delete everything. Okay, this we keep. Right, the board tiles, age and width. I mean, right now we don't need them to be even. I will comment this out. Maybe we'll need them to be even, but for now I just, yeah. Tile width. This is important, but we just say sprite get width. And the sprite is sprite tile resource, and the height is the same. Well, it's not the same, it's what we get. Height and starting X and starting Y, we keep this tile width and tile height. Okay, so right now I will just try to see how it looks like if we draw it as a usual grid, because it won't look good, but at least we can see how it looks without changing anything. Distributing resources and clues in a checkerboard fashion. Yeah, this we don't need anymore. Assigning resource values. This we probably don't need anymore. So much good coding work for naught. But I mean, this is making games, right? At least we know early what we don't need or what doesn't work. And sprite equals sprite open in create line 37. This was on the tile. Create 37, because we're not using sprites anymore, or we're not changing the sprite. So the sprite is of no interest to us. I mean, it is, but we just said here one sprite. We just call it sprite. And this was the starting page. And draw sprite. We draw the sprite at the position that it receives. Okay, cool. So yes, okay, good. So every other thing we need to offset every other what's the word, tile, essentially. I mean, this looks nice, but it's not really a hexagon game right now. This is what I would say when someone says to your tile-based, square-based game, can you make it tile-based? And you say, yeah, it's really just a quick fix, and this is how it would look like. So you just change the appearance, right? So every other horizontal tile needs to be moved in by a certain amount, and the amount we have here, it's just this one, a quarter of its width. We move it in and down by how much? The vertical, half the vertical spacing, right? So this was not what I wanted to close. There we go. Okay, so when we create something, so the tile width equals tile X and tile Y. Okay, so if tile X is wider then we create a new line. Okay, this makes sense. The current X is the starting X and the starting Y. And now this does not work. I will just start there with current X is starting X and current Y is starting Y. So if I modulo 2 equals 0, that means every other tile, then we say current ypsilon, by the way, is Y in German. This is why when I'm programming, I'm using sometimes German in my head. It's all mixed up. Okay, so current Y. No, the current Y stays the same. Again, it's just this wobbly line that I'm just trying to visualize to myself, that it alternates where we start. So we start here at this coordinate. Well, maybe I should not draw in yellow because it's really hard to see there. I use dark green. So with the first tile that I draw, let's say here, this one I start here, and the next one is here, and then so on and so forth. So we start at a given X and Y coordinate, which makes sense. And then when we go to the next one, we move not the entire tile, but just a little bit less. And we also move it down. Then we go and move it up and down, and so we get this little square wave function there, essentially. This is cute. Okay, so how much do we need to advance x? So x tile x equals, now tile x, this is where we currently are. No, wait, current x. Tile x equals 0, tile x equals 0, tile x times tile width. Okay, so with every new step, tile x or current x, this is what I want. Current x equals, and tile x is the tile width times 0.75. Right, and current, and if on every other is, so the tile x and the tile y, it gets stored the coordinate of the individual tile where it is on the board. Right now I'm not interested in this. I really just wanted to draw it correctly. So the current x is the tile width plus, there we go, plus, and if the tile exceeds the number of tiles we have in the width, tile x is 0 and current x is starting x. There we go. Tile y plus plus, and current y equals plus tile height. Does this make sense? Yeah, it does make sense. Okay, so for the offset for this wobbly line is current y plus equals, wait, where do we draw it? Current x and current y. Current y plus tile height times 0.5. My god, I'm really not quite sure if this is correct. Otherwise, current y minus half of the tile height. This is so hacky code, but yeah, we will see how it works. Then I can uncomment this and see what all I have completely neglected to think of. Okay, this is new. This is new. Probably because the current y is not what I wanted to, but I just call it, I make here var y offset equals 0. I think this is much better. Y offset equals tile height divided by 2, otherwise it stays the same. So the current x equals, okay, so good, okay. The current x gets incremented by 3/4 of the tile width, so that we get this little overlap here, right? Then with every other tile, again, we want to move it down by half the sprite height. This is what is happening here. XY offset equals tile width, and before that, Y offset equals 0, so it always alternates between this. And then the current X, we already have it here. The current X starts at starting X and gets incremented by the tile width, but only after we've drawn the tile. So maybe we should do this afterwards. Never mind, I just keep it where it is. So the tile width, unless if the tile X number of tiles is greater or equal to the number of tiles we want across, then tile X equals 0, current X equals the starting X, and current Y gets incremented by the tile height. Yeah, this makes sense. And current Y equals current Y plus y offset. Okay, in theory, in my head, this should make sense. And let's see how off I am. Yes, somewhat, but how or why? Why? Okay, I mean, this is we're already getting somewhere. So let's see what is working and what is currently not working. So what is not working is the y. So we're starting at the y offset, and if x equals, yeah, thank you, Cursibu, exactly. I mean, this is programming, right? You see what is correct in your solution, and then you start. Okay, so first, yeah, this, I mean, the age spacing looks to be correct. I mean, every other thing looks right, but the spacing, the height spacing is completely whack. Why is it completely whack? Tile gets right height, and the height is height, and the W is W. Okay, this makes sense. The width is also correct. So, and if I modulo 2 is the x offset is the tile height divided by 2. Let's make this multiply by 0.1. Current y, no, current y, I'm not adding current y, just adding current y plus the offset. So I'm not changing current y each time, I'm just recalculating it. Okay, this looks not much better. So the first problem that I see is here that oh, and Violet's TV is back again, or apparently you're still there and the unicorn just noticed you twice. I'm really sorry. Okay, so the first one doesn't work because you can't divide 0 by 2. So this is the one thing that's happening. The other thing here, this looks good, but then it should go up again, which is not good. So, this current y, this is the problem that we are having. So we're starting y at the starting position. This is good. The y offset is 0. Okay, so we start I at 1. Let's say at 0. Yeah, sure, why not? And the current x plus, so we increase the x, the tile width. I mean, we should increase the current x after we're done. Maybe there is happening something. Tile x, oh, of course, I'm using, no, this makes sense. Tile x plus plus. And tile y plus plus. No, this doesn't belong here. This does not belong here. This belongs up there. Tile y plus plus. Okay, current x is the starting x. This makes sense. And current y plus the tile. Why this does not make sense? This is exactly what happens there. Ah, this line was probably the problem. Probably problematic. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Okay, so this line was not the problem. What? No. Oh, God, what is happening? Times. Thank you, automated unicorn. At least you're having fun. Okay, again, I need to get my head straight. Okay, so the current x plus the tile width times 0.70. Yeah, okay, good. This makes sense. If tile x is greater than the number of board tiles in the width that we have, we say that tile x is 0 again. The current x is the starting x, and the current y gets incremented by the tile height. And we say tile y plus plus because we're one row down. We start with the y offset. We say the y offset is 0. But if every second tile, we set the y offset to be of tile height times 0.5. So the current y, I'm doing a oopsie here. So the current y plus the y offset. No, the current y. This is something. It has something to do with this line. It has something to do with this line. So we draw the instance, not the current y, plus the offset. Plus y offset, there we go. And current y only gets incremented here. That was the problem, perhaps. Look at this, almost there. The only problem is that the first line we start with an offset. This is only the biggest problem. So my guess is when we start at 1, everything should work. Of course it does not. Okay, so it was not we're starting with 1. We're starting that we increasing the current x before we did something, before we created something. Because we start here at x 200 and we already add to it the tile width. So this actually should happen at the end. So we create an instance, and once we're done with this instance creation, then we increase the current x. There we go. Look at this, a beautiful tile field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 times 8 as a hex grid. Oh my god, I'm lucky that I got this done. So, and I said that if you look at my beautiful concept here, that those things should be blue. So how do we find out which are those things? So in every other line, apparently they are. No, they aren't in every other line. How do I find out which one of those? Okay, so we start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's just ignore what's on top. 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm using pink now just to know. 5, 6, 7. Then we are here again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just trying to find the pattern here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, this was wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why is this 8? How did I arrive here at 8? This does not make sense. Crazypoo, your blues aren't placed regularly. Exactly, this is... They are offset by 1, so that I have this flower symbol here that they aren't... Oh god, this looks so horrible what I'm doing here now. That they are just sharing some of the clues here, and I try to find out how to get... I will undo as much as I can here. Okay, this is how far it goes back. Okay, good to know. And I will try to find out now how I do this. But the problem is here that this one here is messing things up, right? And also this one, because the other ones work, right? They're just aligned in those rows. So this was the problem, right? But why did I do this there in the beginning? Never mind. So, okay, so I'm just ignoring the ones that I didn't space regularly, right? Is this what you meant, Crazypoo? Okay, so then I start here. You start here 1. Okay, which one actually is the 1 here? Is this 1? Did I start here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay, I need now some debugging here, just that I know what row I started with. So I still will be streaming for 5 more minutes today, but I just want to get this right. So the tile is here, and then we draw display tile IDs. This is what we do. We just draw the text of the tile ID. Okay, so we start 0, 1, we go up with the first row. Okay, so this is how we do it. So then we just need to pick here. Maybe I want to start with 9. So what is 9? Is the number across plus 1. Yeah, I think this is what it is. So number across I will just quickly throw this in here. Oh, I'll make a new block here. I'll just call it distribute clues. So again, so the number that we have across. So the first row we ignore. So it's just for every, maybe here 9, 25, 41. So it's for every other row, right? So if tile X and tile Y. So we just get the current tile equals board type I, and if the tiles Y, yes, the tile Y, did I store this? Apparently I don't store this. What its position is on the grid, so tile board tile Y, modulo 2 equals 0, then I just, you know what, I'll just change tile type equals tile type clue, and just see whether this works or not. Right, okay, cool. So it's here in the first row, but actually I don't want it. I want every other, not the first one. So just the second one. So every odd line. Okay, so here the 9, I want the 9, 11, 13, and so on. So if this is the case, and again, if I modulo 2 is not 0, then I want the tile to be a clue. Let's try and see whether this finishes or solves the problem. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The only thing is that for this type of grid, I need a last row. I need them to be odd and not even. So the number of rows and tiles. So let's make this a 9 by 9 grid and see where I arrive at. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so this clearly something wrong here. Okay, because then it doesn't. I mean, this looks like three-dimensional chess, right? But this is not what I wanted. So this is probably a problem of the width. So already got something to think about the next time. Okay, so to do, make work for uneven rows. Yeah, good thing that we've figured this out. And we could also make the last row. I mean, I wanted, it would have been nice if it would not end here. Yeah, if it would be symmetrical to this one, so that we don't have 64, 66, 68, 70 and so on, if those, thank you phone, if those didn't exist. But yeah, this is something for next time to tackle. I mean, right now, at least I got the very basics of this hex grid working. That it's, at least when the rows are even, that it aligns correctly. And that it also selects here the clues. But then I would need another one, but I mean, it could wrap around, but now I don't need it to wrap around, at least not when I'm continuing in this case. You know what? I will just save this and maybe work on this a little bit in my brains, or maybe together with you on the next stream, because I think, I mean, if we look at it, it's not something that I'm proud of yet. But hey, I mean, I did the first step for myself. It's a big step, that is to try to get started with hexes. So yeah, I think this is where I will stop for today. And then we will continue the next time with me trying to figure out how to translate all those beautiful algorithms there. Again, if you want to follow along, maybe I put this also in the description for the hexagonal grids by RedBlob Games. amazing read. Again, thank you so much for pointing it out to me again. It's all you could ever want or ever need in terms of programming with hex. It's super. It's really great. So again, thank you so much for dropping by. Let me hide me in big again. Let me thank you for your interest in this completely boring ass stream of me worrying over game ideas and finding out what is not working and then completely starting over with Minesweeper of all things again. But hey, yeah, let's see if I can come up with something that is fun to play with, at least from the last time, or from the idea before, this grid based with plus minus and so on. Hey, it's good that now I know that it is not working and I shouldn't waste any more time on it. So yeah, we will see how this hex grid goes. But again, hex is a big thing for me. And I think once I got this working, then I'll be happy to see how further this thing could evolve. So yeah, Cursiboo says bye, and so say I, and thank you to anyone who is still watching this. Hi, you can close your browser tab that is still set on mute. I don't know how to point attention to myself, but yeah, I'm done for today. And again, thank you so much for dropping by, for programming along with me. Well, maybe it's even just 10% just watching. Yeah, he's still doing the hexes. And I hope to see you next week again. And yeah, probably the unicorn will be a bit more interactive. Oh, the automatic unicorn sniffs at a long forgotten piece of chocolate. And you know what? This is a good idea for me to end the day as well. Again, thank you so much, and I hope to see you next week. Until then, enjoy your week and stay healthy.